We thought the bridge was abandoned. We were wrong. It was waiting. The rain had been falling for 3 days straight, turning the mountain passes into slick rivers of mud that swallowed boots, gear, and patience. Our world shrank to fog, soaked fabric, and the hum of tension that never left the back of the skull. Somewhere below us lay the valley, a cluster of villages huddled beneath gray clouds, and the bridge that held their future. My name is Isaac Walker, U.S. Army Recon. 26 years old. 7 years in. 3 deployments. Too many goodbyes. Too many letters never sent. But this story isn't about me. Not really. It's about a bridge, with a pulse, a memory, and a purpose. And what waited beneath it. We reached the ridge overlooking the abandoned highway at dawn. The fog was thick enough to hide a helicopter if it flew nose first into the trees. Below us, stretching across a canyon carved by centuries of rushing water, was the old steel bridge, what our maps called Sector Echo 4, but what the locals once named the spine of Eschwater. It should have been quiet. Nothing moved. No birds. No wind. No sign of the enemy convoy we were told to intercept. But as I raised the binoculars, a shape emerged. Vehicles. Not abandoned, hidden. 2 trucks parked beneath camo netting, barely visible in shadow. And further down, near the southern pylon, crates. Large, steel, unmarked. Something was happening here. And we were alone. Our team. Sergeant Walker, me. Team lead. Corporal Reed Harris. Sniper. Best shot I ever saw. Eyes older than he was. Specialist Nina Brooke. Comms and drones. Sarcastic but brilliant under pressure. Staff Sergeant Henry Doyle. Demolitions. Quiet until he wasn't. We crawled into position. Feet numb. Hands stiff. Lungs full of cold mountain air. Reed whispered, "Looks empty." "Nothing's empty at 0600, Nina replied. Doyle studied the bridge through a scope, jaw tightening. One charge in the right place. That thing drops like a curtain. Anyone underneath, gone. My stomach tightened. Downriver, in the valley, lived more than 1,000 people. Destroying that bridge meant more than losing concrete and steel. It meant starving villages, cutting supply routes, isolating families. Which was exactly why the enemy wanted it gone. This wasn't an attack. It was a message. We control everything you depend on. And if we failed here, it would echo for generations. We moved toward the northern pylon. As we got closer, the structure rose like a cathedral, steel beams twisting upward, wet metal shining with rain. Underneath, the bridge groaned in the wind, as if alive. The ruins of old barricades littered the ground. Sandbags split open, rusted ammo cans, faded graffiti stamped beneath moss. "This place saw fighting," Doyle murmured. "Not recently," Reed said. "Look at the shell casings, rusted." He wasn't wrong. The bridge had history, dust soaked in memories. As we advanced, Nina froze. Hold. She knelt beside a metal plate half buried in mud. A plaque. Letters nearly erased. 149th Engineer Battalion. Honoring those who built peace. 1998. We stared at it in silence. Reed whispered, "This bridge wasn't built for war." "No bridge is," I replied. We reached our observation point beneath the support beams. Rain hammered the steel overhead like distant artillery. Nina set up the drone, fingers trembling from cold. Its rotors hummed, rising into the fog like a mechanical ghost. The feed appeared on her tablet, grainy at first, then clear enough to see movement. Men, armed, working beneath the southern span. Doyle recognized the equipment immediately. Those crates, they're shaped charges. They're planting demolition. Our mission had been simple, reconnaissance only. No engagement. Observe and report. But we had a problem. Radio interference. Heavy, pulsing like a heartbeat. Nina tried frequency after frequency. Nothing. They're blocking every band. "So they know we might be here," Reed muttered. "No. Worse. They knew we couldn't call for help." We crept along the underside of the bridge, boots slipping on wet steel. The drops fell farther and faster here, gathering into streams that echoed into the chasm below. The canyon smelled of rust, water, and time. Rain softened sound, but we still heard voices, muffled at first, then clearer. Southern beam is ready. Command wants it done before nightfall. Valley will starve. Doyle's eyes hardened. We can't let this happen. Orders are recon only, I whispered. Reed's whisper was colder. And what's the plan? Watch them blow it. Then the drone feed shifted, showing something unexpected. For civilians. Bound. Blindfolded. Sitting beneath the central support beam. Hostages. Something inside me snapped. Hostages changed everything. This wasn't sabotage. This wasn't strategy. This was leverage. You know what this means? Reed whispered. I nodded. We have to stop them. Rules shifted. Mission rewritten by reality. We split positions. Reed stayed high on the northern span with his rifle. Nina took cover behind steel support columns. Doyle moved toward the southern beam to locate the main charges. I slid under the walkway toward the center support pillar, mud and rain seeping into every seam of my uniform. The first shot broke the silence. Reed. Precise, controlled. Then chaos erupted. Gunfire ricocheted off steel beams, sparks showering through the dark. Voices shouted. Boots thundered. Nina yelled into the radio, though it wasn't working. Reed. 3 moving south. Doyle called out, breath ragged. Found the primary charge, timers armed. I reached the hostages, cutting rope with shaking hands. Stay quiet. Stay low. Move when I move. One hostage whispered, voice cracked. We heard them planning. They're going to flood the valley. Rain turned to mist under the bridge lights, swirling like smoke. Footsteps thundered closer. Reed called out, distant but steady. Walker, right side. Move. I rolled just as bullets tore through the air where I'd been crouched. The woman I'd just freed covered her head, trembling. It's okay, I whispered. It's okay, we're here. But I wasn't sure I believed it. Doyle found me in the chaos. He was bleeding from his arm, shirt soaked red. I can defuse it, he said, breathing hard. But I need time. How much? Too much. He knelt over the explosive, hands steady despite the shaking ground. Rain hammered metal above us. Gunfire echoed like drums. Reed spoke through calm suppression, voice broken but clear. 2 left, 1 moving toward Doyle. I spun, firing 3 controlled shots. The threat fell. Clear, I said. Doyle exhaled. I hate timers. The display read 7 minutes and 12 seconds. He cut a wire. The display froze. Done, he said. But in that instant, we heard the worst sound imaginable. A second timer. Hidden deeper. Different tone. A redundant failsafe. I grabbed Doyle's vest. Run. He stared at the device. It's too close to the support. If that one goes. Run. He didn't. Instead, he looked at me with eyes full of memory and regret. Get them out. Then he shoved me toward the hostages. Move, Walker. I knew that tone. The tone of finality. The tone of sacrifice. I grabbed the civilians, pushing them ahead of me. Gunfire erupted above. Reed covering us. Rain turned to steam. The bridge shuddered. The world flashed white. And the heart of the bridge exploded. The ground hit me before sound returned. Everything spun. Metal screamed. Water roared below the canyon, like thunder and grief. My vision blurred, but I saw movement. Doyle. Still alive. Barely. Steel beams collapsed around him. Rain fell through gaps ripped open by the blast. He was trapped beneath metal and concrete. Still breathing. Still conscious. Doyle. I yelled. But even shouting felt distant. Nina slid beside me, clothes torn, face streaked with rain and fear. We have to get him out. We can't, Reed said, voice shaking in my earpiece. The support's gone. Another shift, and the whole span goes. But Doyle looked up at me, eyes calm. Do it. I froze. What? He nodded toward the remaining explosives. Finish it. Drop the bridge. Make sure they can't rebuild. The valley would be safe. The villages protected. The enemy denied. But Doyle would fall with it. Rain washed blood from his forehead, mixing into the cold mountain mud. He smiled softly. It's okay. I'm already gone. The timer beeped its final warning. Nina turned away, crying. Reed's voice shook. Do it, Walker. My hand hovered over the switch. One breath. One heartbeat. One choice. I pressed it. The mountain shook, and Doyle vanished. Hours later, the helicopter arrived. We loaded civilians first, alive because Doyle stayed. Reed climbed aboard last, face pale with exhaustion and something deeper. As I sat beside Nina, wind whipping through the open door, I looked back at the smoking canyon. The bridge was gone. The valley was safe. Command debriefed us for hours. Questions. Hands folded. Eyes lowered. Finally, a voice asked, "Why destroy the bridge?" I answered the only way I could. Because it wasn't a structure anymore. It was a war. They wrote Doyle's name on paper, but we carved it in memory. A week later, I found a letter in Doyle's pack, addressed to no one, and to everyone. If you're reading this, it means I stayed. Don't feel bad about that. Nobody gets to pick their ending, only how they meet it. Tell the others I was lucky. I folded the letter and walked outside. The sun was rising, clouds breaking, rain gone. Reed stood beside me silently. Nina approached, eyes red but steady. We did the right thing, she said. I nodded, though it still hurt. It's just hard to feel it. Reed looked toward the horizon. He knew. I closed my eyes. Yes. Some bridges are made of steel and concrete. Others are made of people. And sometimes, tea. The strongest ones are the ones that fall. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Epic Recon Stories. Here we tell the missions that never made the headlines, the decisions made in silence, and the people who carried them. More stories are coming soon.